stream, this feed come across my phone here. So that's what I'm checking. So, and then once that happens, then I'll go ahead and get started. But until then, it's just, I'm just kind of in a waiting period to see what happens here with this. So just if you're already seeing me, then just hang on. Okay, looks like we are good to go. Like everything's synced up. So I'll jump into a couple things. Hope you guys are doing well. I was like, okay, this is totally spur of the moment. I was like, let me do a live stream here in the middle of the day when most people are at work, and I'm like, I'll do it. I'm sure a couple of people will come in, and I'll get more views of this after it's over, probably tonight. So, but anyway, I want to talk about a couple things. I'm going to go over the current premiums on the funds, on the Grayscale Trust. I'll talk about some of the issues with the smaller secondary trusts that I've talked about in the past, some things to keep in mind, and a bunch of issues. And if you guys have any questions, post them in the comments. I'll be looking through the comments in a little bit, and I'll answer any questions you have the best that I can. We'll just kind of see where this thing goes. I don't know how long it's going to go. I don't know that it's going to be terribly long, but we will see. We'll see. Okay. So anyway, so let me go over the premiums first. The big guys that most of us invest in. LTCN has a 2x premium on it right now. And so what that means is it costs $2 to buy $1 worth of LTCN. A 2x premium is essentially the same as saying it's 100% premium. And if I say like a 1.6x premium, which is what BCHG has, well, it's basically a 60%. So I use 1.6x and 2x to just represent 100% and a 60%, respectively. So that's kind of where we're at. LTCN obviously has a hotter, heavier premium on it than BCHG. So it's like anybody that's looking at getting into LTCN or adding to their bags, it's a little bit more expensive than it is for BCHG. And it's, I'm guessing we'll see BCHG follow, but also during the last bull run, we had average premiums for LTCN were about 10, and average premiums for BCHG were about 7. So the premiums for BCHG lagged behind LTCN, so that's to be expected. That's to be expected. Now let me talk about some of the secondary trusts that I've talked about. Talk about what the premiums are on these funds. So GXLM, which is one of the ones that I'm heavily invested in. Some of you guys might be invested there too. But it's also one that I've talked about, like we have a potential of rotating after we sell off some shares of LTCN or BCHG early. We could potentially, if there's time, we could rotate into GXLM if there's an opportunity, if there's a window. I don't know that there will be. It's really tight. But if there is, it could be a nice play to increase your winnings, increase your profit. So the GXLM trust has about a 2.6x premium on it right now, which is pretty reasonable where, given where it's been for the past, 9 months plus. Well, actually it had like a 1.1x premium on it last summer up until like June or July or something like that. I was actually getting into GXLM and I was almost done getting in, and the premium skyrocketed to it was like a 3x premium. Then we had 5x premiums on GXLM this past summer. I think the GXLM trust could go bananas, but it's a smaller trust, lower liquidity than LTC and BCHG. I don't know, like I've talked about liquidity on some of these smaller trusts, and I would expect, I can't guarantee, but I would expect that we would see increased volumes leading up to the bull run and during the course of the bull run. I would expect that, but there's no guarantee of that. But I would think that as these things start to moon, that it's going to catch the eye of a lot of investors, and they're going to take a look at it and they're going to say, I want to get in, and that's going to push up the premiums. And so I think premiums on GXLM could be crazy this time around. Okay, so another trust, HZen. This is a Horizon trust. HZen has a 2x premium on it. Actually, no. Hold on a second. No, it's got a 2.8x premium on it. So 2.8x premium on the HZen trust. ZCSH. This is a Zcash trust. Has a 2.7x premium on it. Not bad. GSOL, which is not a secondary trust, but it's probably going to be an early mover, has a 4.2x premium, and FileG, the Filecoin trust, has a 14x premium on it. Oh, holy cow. Yeah, it's really high. Okay, so Mana, this is the Decentraland trust, right now is a 4.6x premium. So it's pretty spendy to get into Mana right now. And Ethereum Classic, this is the ETCG, is at a 43% discount. So it's not, I mean, it's highly unusual to find a trust with a discount on it, leading up, where we're at right now. But Ethereum Classic, the ETCG trust, last bull run did run at a discount, most, if not all, of the bull run. Somebody said it ran at a discount for a period of time. I at the points I sampled, which is not all the points, not all the days, it was running at a discount. So even though it might, you don't have a ton of premium play in Ethereum Classic in that trust, like you do in Litecoin and the LTCN trust and in the Bitcoin Cash, the BCHG trust, because we're not going to go over a 1x. We're not going to go past NAV. We're probably going to stay at a discount. But right now, if we're at a 43% discount and that discount narrows and we're only trading at like a 10% discount, for example, during the bull run, well, then your gains still increase over just normally investing in Ethereum Classic. So I think I think it'll still be good. I think that's a really substantial discount on the ETCG trust. So it's a good one. I have a small position in ETCG. I know a couple other people do, and I know a couple people are thinking about it. So it's a good place to get in, I think, in my opinion. Ethereum Classic, I think it'll do pretty well. It's, there's a huge market cap in the ETCG trust. It's like, Grayscale, sunk a lot of money into setting that trust up, and they're not gonna, it's a popular one. Again, lower liquidity than LTC on a BCHG, but definitely it's one of the better ones out there. So I think it can perform pretty well. Now, in terms of like where that one might go, actually, since this topic came up on Discord, actually, just in the past half hour, like where Ethereum Classic might go, Caesar did a video on it like 6 months ago. And at that point, I forget what price point that he thought it could get up to, but I did the calculation as to what price point we're currently at. And Ethereum Classic, I think it's like a 15 to 40x is what he was thinking from current price points of Ethereum Classic. So if you were to go into the ETCG trust, now essentially, that's probably a reasonable return to expect. And Ethereum Classic was all over the board. I did a video on the trust. Actually, you can find this on my phase 2 trust playlist, where I was like, it's really hard to come up with an estimate as to what the ETCG trust could do, anywhere from a 10x to 100x, because the estimates for Ethereum Classic are all over the board as to what people think might happen. So who knows what's going to happen. I think it's a pretty safe bet. I talked about the ETCG trust. I talked about that trust and how it could be used as basically a second phase rotation. And I think it's pretty, we don't know the price of the trust until we get to the point, probably towards the end of the year, like after some of us have sold off some of our LTC and our BCHG or GXLM, like if you rotate into that first. But once you sell something off and you want to rotate into Ethereum Classic as one option, I would think that it's pretty reasonable that we could probably still get like a 5x return out of Ethereum Classic without having to wait for like a high point. I think that's probably pretty reasonable. And if you watch the videos where I've talked about rotation into secondary trust, like that's all you need. Like a 5x is fine, even a 3x, because you do if you rotate out of LTCN, for example, into GXLM, and you get a 5x there, and then you get like a 5x in Ethereum Classic, and then a 5x someplace else. Well, that's a heck of a deal. By the way, I don't know if I've talked about this in the past. And we don't know how things are going to line up this bull run. We don't know the timing of individual cryptocurrencies, right? So inside the bull run, this generic big bull run that we've got, it's going to last a while. Some people think it'll last till the end of 2025, which basically, I mean, that's a long period of time. That's over a year and a half, really, because it's going to start this summer. And so we're talking like a year and a half, but that does not mean that all cryptocurrencies run that long. They don't. They run at different times and for different lengths of period, different periods, different lengths. So the secondary trust that I looked at, I forget the exact lengths for each individual ones, but they varied like between 10 months and 14 months, generally speaking. So like when Mana, for example, started to take off, it ran for like, it was almost a year, maybe slightly over. Same thing for Horizon, Zcash, and Ethereum Classic too. So there's time. There's more time actually in those runs in the last cycle than we had in the LTCN and BCHG run. So that gives you time to exit these positions and not be in a rush. It also, if things line up, here's the play that I would make. Like, it just based on what happened last bull run, I would, if you can rotate some from LTCN BCHG into GXLM if there's time. I don't know if there will be. Whether there is or not, you could at least move on to the secondary trust. Now, the first two trusts that moved last cycle were the HSEN and ZCSH, the Horizon and Zcash. They were the first movers, right? I don't think the trusts were in place when this started, but I was looking at the native crypto. So the first two were the HSEN and Zcash. So what you could do is you could take profits from LTCN or BCHG or GXLM, split them between HSEN and ZCSH, and then once those get to like a 5x or whatever, cash out and rotate into Ethereum Classic, because that started later. So did Mana, right? Mana and Ethereum Classic started later. So that's there's a couple stages that we could do. There's no guarantee, like I said, like things are going to happen exactly the same way, but potentially, we could have a play where you're first in LTCN, for example, then you go to GXLM, then you go to ZCSH or HZen, and then on to ETCG and Mana. So that's a potential play. And if you do something like that, man, you're just like, you can get crazy gains, crazy gains. I mean, potentially like 1,000x gain, on your input. But I would not, as I mentioned before, and I just want to reiterate this and stress this every time I talk about this stuff, like, I would not put your whole portfolio in these things. I would only put a small percentage. You don't want to risk your whole winnings, all your profits on these smaller trusts, because they are less liquid. And if you end up with like $500,000 or something, or $1 million or whatever of profits in a given trust, you might not be able to get out very quickly. It might take you a while. And by a while, it could be a couple days or a couple weeks. I don't know. It all depends. We'll have to wait and see. But you got to be careful. I would not risk all of your profits in putting all your profits into these trusts. Just do it with a small percentage, like just to try to enhance gains and all that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But I would definitely urge you to not put everything in there. By the way, on this, so usually when I buy crypto, when I buy the trust, I will most often use limit orders. Sometimes now, like when I've been buying LTCN lately, I've just been putting in a market order, because I'm like, I'm just like every half hour, I'm buying a little bit every half hour, and I don't really care what the price is. I'm just doing an average, so it doesn't really matter to me. So I do a market order, but for the smaller trusts that I have, like Mana and ZCSH, HCEN, I did limit orders when I got into these. And the other day, I was gonna put in an order for $1,000 worth of Mana, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do a market order. And Fidelity would not let me do it. Fidelity came up with an error message that said something like this. It said, Fidelity does not allow market orders on illiquid securities. Okay, so for me, that was a huge red flag. I was like, oh shit. So Fidelity apparently considers the Mana Trust to be an illiquid security. So keep that in mind. You might not want to put money in there. If you got money in there, I wouldn't stress about it. Just don't consider trying to cash out of all your winnings over the course of an hour or something. Like, I've got a nice position in Mana, but I'm not worried about it, because I'm going to exit that position over the course of a couple months. It's like I'm not in any hurry to get out of Mana. Mana's going to have its own run. It's going to be probably a pretty long run, and I have plenty of time to get out, so I'm not terribly worried about that. But keep that in mind. Keep that in mind for sure. Okay, so let me go on and let me just see some of the questions here, what you guys are asking. CJ says, man, I'm waiting to get time to buy. I just can't get in. Price keeps giving up. Yeah, so there's no guarantee. Like, a lot of us we've seen videos from Caesar, and Caesar thinks that BCHG and LTCN, the prices are going to drop significantly. And that might happen. That might absolutely happen. But the problem is, we don't know when. We don't know when that's going to happen, or how much the drop could actually be, because things can change. Like, everything is driven, just because the TA is saying something and Caesar's picking up on it, does not mean that the reality on the ground isn't changing. Because again, the markets are driven by investor sentiment. And if there's enough demand for these trusts, well, it means the prices aren't going to go down. I've seen estimates from other people that just think that the trusts are going to go up significantly in the coming weeks. So I don't know. I don't know who's right. All I know is that, like, I'm finishing my purchases of LTCN, and it's like, okay, well, I'll finish up with them next week. And to hell with the prices. I don't know where they're going to go. They could go up, in which case I'll be glad I got in when I did, or they could dive, in a big way, and then I'll be like, oh shit, I should have gotten in earlier or waited to get in. But the thing is, for me, I've mentioned this before too, is that I'm on a deadline too. Like I want to get my lots of LTCN purchased in time, so I'm not stressed out next year, because I have to wait basically a year to sell them if I want long-term capital gains, and that's what I want. Like, I mean, it's gonna be next year, it's gonna be February of next year before I can start to sell those things off, and I don't want to be like under some pressure, like, because I don't know, I don't know if there's any guarantee that LTCN and BCHG are going to run past April of next year. If we look at last cycle and we say, well, we're gonna, if we have a cycle that looks like last time, last time it ended like in May, end of May, early June, end of May. But if we shift forward a month, because we've got the Bitcoin halving happen a month early, well, then that means it could end in April. So I don't want to be left holding the bag, when the music ends. I do not want to be standing there with shares that I have not sold off. So I'm just kind of like, screw it. There's nothing I can do about the price. The price seems reasonable to me, because I'm like, I see where we're going. I see what the potential gains are, and so I go, well, okay, just whatever. I'll do whatever. Brandon says, have you figured out which high yield dividend you'll invest in instead of YMAX? Right now I'm not investing in any high yield dividend ETFs. I actually sold them all off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to evaluate how they work. I want to look at their performance of all the ones that are out there, all the ones that are popular over the next 12 months, because I want to use that time to basically evaluate them, see how they're working before I put money into them after the bull run. And I figured it doesn't matter to me. I'll skip out on the dividend ETFs now, because my money will actually perform a lot better, I think, in the Grayscale funds than they will sitting in Coney, for example. Even Coney has great yields, so do a lot of the yield max ETFs. But I want to see how they're going to operate. Like the Defiance ETFs, man. I did the calculation. I sold mine off because I had, I was like, okay, well, after taxes, after I get my dividends and I pay my taxes, the after-tax dividends do not make up for the erosion that's happening. And that's all I see when I look at the charts of the Defiance ETF. So there's some ones I don't want to get into. Maybe I'll get into FEPI. That pays like 25%. I am concerned that a lot of, if not all of, their payout is return of capital, because that to me signals a problem. Like, why do they have to give my money back to me? So I got to think about that. I want to see what's going to happen over the next year. There are some yield max ETFs that, for the time being, are in good shape. I haven't looked at these in probably a couple of weeks, but the ones I looked at, they were lower yielding than Tesla, than Coney, but better performing overall in terms of like preserving wealth or potentially growing wealth. And I don't want to lose my wealth if just, because I'm getting a high yield. It's like, it makes no sense to get a high yield of 100%, 200%, whatever, if my wealth is being destroyed on the back end. But there were some good ones that were looking good when I looked at them. Those were MSFO, the Microsoft ETF, PayPal, the PayPal one, I think AMD, the AMD one, Dizzo, the Disney one. I think there was one or two others that still look good. So I want to see how well those things perform. A lot of the performance is going to be based on the underlying stock over the next year. And obviously, even if they look good over the next year, things can change in a big way, and they can wipe out your gains. Like they can destroy your gains if you get in at the wrong time. As anybody who's been in Tesla or Coney knows, or OARC. OARC is not, that's a lot of problems in OARC with destroying your capital. So I'm going to evaluate those things, and hopefully there's some good options, because I know a lot of us that are investing in Grayscale, like we want to come around and invest in high yield ETFs that are good, that are quality, that are going to benefit us. So we're going to have to, I'm going to be watching what happens with the ones that we have, and with the ones that come out. Like, it's very popular to jump on new ETFs as they come out, but then you don't have any, you don't have any chart data to look back on. You can't see how they've actually been performing. I want to be able to see at least 6 months worth of data before I get into anything, because I don't want to lose money. Like, I'm in the business of trying to make money. I don't want to lose money. So Stephen S, new to crypto. Yeah, well, welcome aboard, man. Welcome aboard, Stephen. It's like you're in the right place. If you haven't joined Discord, definitely join Discord, and join the conversation there, Stephen. Because there's a lot of people that invest in native cryptocurrency and in the Grayscale funds, and we can provide some help and guidance and all that stuff. MRNC says, yes, Cesar still says LTC7 and BCHD2. I know he says that, and it's like the TA is telling him that, but like I said, like, we don't know for sure. We don't know when that's going to happen. I have no doubt we're going to see lower prices. I just don't know when it's going to come, and to what level. Because if we spike up to, say, like, LTCN is around $12 right now. What if we spike up to like $15? And then we drop back, crash back to $10, and that's it. We might never see the $7 LTCN price again. Maybe a $7 LTCN will happen after the crash, after the bull run's over, and that's when we'll see it. I don't know. So I don't know. It's we're all gonna wish, though, if those prices come, that's what are the prices that we bought at, for sure. We're gonna wish that. MRNC says ETH went from proof of work to proof of stake since last bull run. Yeah, they did. And miners dropped Ethereum Classic, so it might not pop this bull run, in his or her opinion. Yep, that is true. So we don't know. But I think it is. I think it is still. It is still popular, and things don't need to like do a moonshot. Like, I mean, even if Ethereum Classic does like a 10x or a 15x, well, that's a solid return, especially for a secondary trust. That's not, what we're projecting that we can potentially see in LTCN or BCHG, or what you can see in a lot of cryptos that do like 100x or whatever. But still, that's respectable. So even coins that are old, that maybe have fallen out of favor, they can still do well. And and that's the key. It's like you don't go there for your biggest gains, but you can go there for some gains, and that, based on the timetable, the timing of everything, those gains could be really beneficial. So we'll see. Charles says, how soon do you think it will start running? Seems like BCHG has been stuck at 3 forever. Well, okay, so this is for LTCN and BCHG too. So like LTCN if you look at the chart, you look at the 3-month chart or the 6-month chart, we're still heading up. Like, we're still going up quite a bit, and we're going up way more than native Litecoin or native Bitcoin Cash. Like, we're not on both the BCHG and LTCN funds. We're going up way more. So basically, it's like investors are getting ready. They're getting prepped. They're getting excited about getting into these funds, and the shareholders that have the shares that are willing to sell aren't willing to sell, except for a premium. And so we're getting the premiums are starting to come on. Now, I would expect that we level off here and stay, relatively stable at some point, because we can't continue this trajectory. I mean, it's like LTCN, let me just take a look at this. Like, let me just pull this up really quick. LTCN, for example, and then I'll look at BCHG. So LTCN, I mean, over the past 6 months, we've gone from $4 LTCN up to basically a $12. Well, I'll just round it off, and that's a 3x. Like Litecoin has not done a 3x in 6 months, and if for us to continue on this trajectory, to keep going, is not sustainable. We have to correct. We have to come back, whether we crash down and then level off, or if we just like stop accelerating and just kind of level off. That's the question, right? What's it going to look like? Because I don't think we can do, we can't continue on the path that we are. It's potential. We could go up. Some people have said, like, one of the guys that I was looking at on X on Twitter, he was saying, well, LTCN is basically on course for almost $60 by April. Well, it's like, well, yeah, if we continue on the trajectory, I don't think we are. If we did, man, holy shit, buckle up for the bull run, because we're gonna have insane premiums if we go up to like a $60 LTCN by April, because I don't see that Litecoin is gonna do that. I mean, it's Litecoin isn't gonna like quadruple or more, between now and April. Hopefully it goes up, but we're gonna have to have a course correction or slow down or something, because it's not sustainable. We can't start out this way. We can't start out this way. I mean, for reference, I saw this because I was looking at some of my oldest positions in LTCN that I didn't sell off in the last bull run. I don't know why, but I was looking at the different the orders, the buy orders that were in those lots, and I was buying LTCN in October of 2020 for like $50 per share, $50. So that's what it was in October, right? And so maybe if we have the same, if we shift things forward a month and we say $50 LTCN in September, and maybe more than that by September, because the prices might be bigger, investor expectations might be higher for Litecoin and LTCN this time around. Maybe max like a price of $100 by September. Maybe that's kind of where we're at. I don't know for sure. We're gonna have to watch. The summer is probably gonna be a dead time. Like, if you think things are slow now, like, realize that in summer everybody gets on their summer, like, hat. They go into vacation mode, and and from what I looked at, when I looked at the charts, like, we got pretty good prices. Like, the prices came down in LTCN, for example, in the summer of 2020. Like, that was a great time to get in. And it obviously got more expensive, but it's like, so we could see really good prices, decent prices here in the spring and beginning of the summer, but then that we could lose out, and maybe we'll see $7 LTCN like in August or something. I don't know. But again, like, if you're waiting for $7 LTCN and you buy in August, well, you can't get long-term capital gains. You got to get short-term, and it's, and that is probably fine given the returns that we might be looking at. So yeah, who knows when it's going to come. Let's see. Yeah, MRNC made a comment about when BCHG started to run. It was the end of October, kind of beginning of November. It was that for both of LTCN and BCHG. They were pretty close within a couple days, if I remember correctly. So if we assume that happens, if we shift things forward a month, well, then that would be beginning of October of this year, or the very end of September, potentially. But we never know. Like, there's a lot of variables here. Like, I don't know exactly when this stuff is going to happen. We'll see. But that's kind of what I'm thinking, just from my planning stuff. That's probably going to have happen, I'm guessing. Dr. Kizzo said, I was watching a video of Cesar Gets Crypto where he predicted a $250 BCHG. I can see that. BCHG didn't reach its full potential. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think he's even gone higher than that. Above that as the potential, but 250, 250 is like an 80x from right here where we're at right now. So we definitely want that. Like, all this depends on primarily how the underlying cryptos like Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin do. That's it. That's what it matters more than the premiums. The premiums come and they play a very important role in the pricing, and I think we're gonna have amazing premiums again. One guy on Twitter, he said LTCN is gonna have 30x premiums plus this bull run, and I was like, holy shit! I'm like, I would like to see that. I would like to see that. That would be crazy, because if we had like 10x premiums on average, we spiked to 50, but if we had 30x premiums on average, it would be pretty nuts. So Disco says, Edwin Flores says, at what premium do you stop buying any funds? I guess you gotta, it's like, I don't know. I mean, so I guess you really have to determine what you want. Like I bought a little bit of FileG. This is a Filecoin. It had a 14x premium. I only put $1,000 into it, but I was like, because I wanted to see how it would work, and I was like, okay, well, I want this showing up, in my brokerage account. I guess it's hard to say. It's really because it's so hard to say. Like, I think we're still far below the averages that we'll see in the bull run. So you'll still see a premium play. One of the reasons you want to buy when there's a low premium is that you want to take advantage of the premium play. So for example, if you buy LTCN right now when there's a 2x premium, and you can sell it when there's a 10x premium, where you're going to get 5 times more money than you would if you bought it at a 10x premium. So if you buy it at the premium that you sell it at, then your gains are basically limited to the gains of the underlying crypto, Litecoin or Bitcoin Cash or Stellar Lumens or whatever. That's why you want to buy at the lowest premium possible. I did make a video the other day on the FileG Trust, though, and I did make this note in the video, and that was this. I was like, well, if you think about it, does it matter if you're buying FileG at a 14x premium? If, and this is a big if there's a 14x premium out of when you sell, 14x premium or more when you sell. Like, who cares how expensive it is to buy it if you can sell it back at least at that premium? The problem that we have is we don't know what the premium on FileG is going to be. And FileG is a potential one that you could rotate into, potentially, if it runs at the same time it did last cycle. But you'd have to look at the premiums, before you did that and make a determination, because you really want to know. You really would want to be assured that you are buying at a lesser premium than what you would sell. You don't want to buy it at a 15x premium and then sell it at a 7.5x premium, because then you've destroyed half your profit. Half your profit is gone in comparison to the underlying crypto. So that, so I don't know. You just have to make your own determination as to like what you think is reasonable. It's really hard to say. I would much rather buy things at a discount, but I've still been buying LTCN where there's a 2x premium, and to me it's like, well, it's still worth it, because I think there will be 10x premiums on the fund, at least on average. I'm hoping for at least a repeat of last bull run in LTCN, and it could be better as in higher premiums for us, but it could be better. Disco says, what do you think a realistic price target for LTCN is? Do you think Caesar's $2,300 protection is actually possible? So I think 23,000. So that's so here's what I look at. I'm like, well, I don't have my laptop here, but here's what I look at. I go, okay, what's the upper limit for LTCN, or what's the upper limit for Litecoin? First of all, Litecoin is like $60. So let's say in the upper like side of things that it goes to $6,000, right? That's a 100x move. That's a massive move. But let's just say it does that. Let's say it does a 100x move, and then we do a 5x improvement on the premium. We go from 2x to 10x premiums. Well, that's like a 5x move. So then you got 5x times 100x. That's a 500x move. I don't think we get there. So, because that. Okay, so let's do a reasonable price, like say $3,000 Litecoin is a 50x move. Times 5 is 250x. A 250x move. So 250x move, and now I'm having to do math in my head. Fuck that. I'm gonna like bring up the calculator really quick. Calc. All right, 250 times 12 that's a $3,000 fund price on LTCN. If we had a $3,000 Litecoin, so let's see if we had a $2,000 Litecoin. So $2,000 Litecoin divided by 60. Hold on a second. 2,000 divided by 60. It's a 33x improvement. So 33 times 5 is 166. Improvement times 12 puts us at about a $2,000 mark, price point on the LTC and fund. So, that's probably, I think that was, I think that's probably where he was coming from. Because I think, if I remember correctly, he was thinking Litecoin itself could get just over $2,000. And so if you apply that math and you apply a premium, like getting back to a 10x premium, well, that's, that could, we're looking at $2,000 plus LTCN price. Now, it's not going to be there constantly, right? It's not going to be there constantly. It's going to spike there. Like, so when Cesar talks about, and when I talk to about, like, the top, like, what's the potential return? That's the top. And if you look at past crypto bull runs, well, that's sometimes only happens, like, if you were to look at the price chart of Ethereum Classic from the last bull run, it hung out, at like a relatively low level. It was a nice return for a long time, and then it spiked right away at the beginning, spiked up huge, but it was only for a very short period of time. But that was the top, right? That was the top. So I just saw a message come across where somebody said that's so unrealistic, and it's like, no, I don't think it's unrealistic at all, man. It's math. It's math. I mean, last cycle we got up to $500. So to get up $2,000 is just 4x. It's just 4x. Who cares? How could we get to 4x? Well, premiums could be twice, and the Litecoin price could be twice. That's how we get to 4x from there. And then we have $2,000 LTCN in play. So it's possible. I wouldn't say it's not. But again, it's all gonna determine, like, what is happening with the premiums and what's happening with the native Litecoin price or Bitcoin Cash price. If we're talking about BCHG Trust. Yeah, good returns. Some of you are mentioning, talking about good returns even from where we are. Yeah, definitely good returns. If we again, if you can capture the high, but it'll be interesting to me to see where the non-high prices are. Like, even say we get a high price of LTCN of $2,000 this bull run. That's the high point that we reach at some point in the cycle. I want to know, like, what's the average price of the trust going to be? Is it going to average around $800 or $1,000 or $700 or $600? Like, what's the average going to be during the bulk of the bull run? Because that would give, I want the best price. It's like, that's what I'm interested in the most, because it's like, that's where I know we all have the best ability to get out most of our profits. If we're all just waiting on, like, the spindle to the top when prices spike, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. But some people will be able to get it, and a lot of people won't be able to. Plus, you don't know when it's going to come. I mean, I think Cesar did mention that we might see our highs for LTCN, and I think also BCHG Q2 of 2025. So, I mean, that's like, you're having to hold on to your shares until, like, the bitter end to see the highest prices. And honestly, like, for me, I don't know that I could do that, because the risk in doing that, if you wait too long, if that's when the highs are going to come, well, then there's also the chance that they don't come and that the bull run ends for LTCN and BCHG, and you're just left holding the bags, So I hope the highs come sooner than later, but nobody's in control of that. General Stack is watching me in his car you're watching me in my car from your car. That's perfect. That's awesome. That's how we should do it. We should have, like, I should have videos of cars, like, just overlaid on the screen where you can see them. Okay. Let's see. DC says, what is Grayscale? Go watch my videos. What is Grayscale? Grayscale, they just shares of crypto that you can buy through your brokerage account. That's an easy way to think about it. Vincent says, how do you know what the premium is? Well, I calculated. There's also, like, if you're in Discord, if you're not there, it's free to join. Click the link in one of the videos or on the channel. There's a calculator. There are some sites too that some of the guys use because they'll mention the premiums in the Discord chat that you can use. But it's like I just calculate them in a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet is available on Discord in the file section. DC says, yes, very new, only know how to buy dividend stocks. Well, buying shares of a Grayscale trust, or as long as you are in like Schwab or Fidelity or E-Trade, it's just as easy as buying an ETF or a stock. So it's pretty simple. Noel says the price doesn't seem too unreal. Honestly, it's like it doesn't. On the one hand, I have to though agree, because it's like I sit and I go, I think about the potential returns that we could get, and it just doesn't feel real to me. There was a guy on that mentioned this on Discord. This is a while back now, but he said something like he felt like he discovered the cheat code to escape the matrix of financial slavery. And it's like these trusts have the potential to make us a lot of money, and it feels unreal. It really does. Because when you do the calculation of like what kind of return could be possible and what your investment could turn into, you start to kind of question reality, because these kind of returns aren't available, outside of crypto. They're just not available. So it is, it on that respect, it does seem unbelievable. Disco says LTC is an all-time high for LTC was 412. Kelly said, "Can you save the live? I missed the beginning." Yeah, it's there. You can go back, Kelly, and it'll all be saved when it's over. So LTC all-time high is 412. So yeah. So it's like if we get up to a lot of times when I've given projections, like I've got a projection here, like for example, let's say we only make it to, let's say we get up to $1,000 Litecoin price, LTC price, right? And we got a 10x premium on the fund. Well, that is a 73x from here, from current price points. That's a 73x from here. If we get a 10x premium on the fund, and we have a Litecoin price of $1,000, it's a 72x from here, and the fund price would be $864. So almost 1,000. So that's like the conservative estimate that I've been using. I use last bull run's premium for LTCN, and I'm like, okay, well, some people think we can get to $2,000 or more for Litecoin. What if we just do half of that, which is $1,000, which I also think is low, because the people that are really in the mix here, like Charlie Lee, the founder of Litecoin, he came out on Twitter. This is several months back, and he said that his thoughts on where the price could be in this bull run were between $1,200 and $1,800. Now, he doesn't have a crystal ball either. Nobody does in TA or whatever. We don't, right? But it's like if you look at if you look at the different viewpoints on things, and you can kind of piece together a general idea of where things might be going, and it's like I've listened to people who think that Litecoin could be hitting $6,000 or $7,000 this bull run, and they make a good case for it. I think it's an outside case, but they make a good case for it, and I go, it could be happening. They're just like Caesar has estimates for Bitcoin Cash. He looks at realistic targets of $10,000 or $12,000 or $20,000, or I think 23,000. And I don't know if he's mentioned it, but other people mentioned Bitcoin Cash even getting up to $50,000. At its high point, and those are incredible moves. Incredible moves. Let's just if we had something like that on let's say we had a $50,000 price point. Let's say Bitcoin hits 500,000 and Bitcoin Cash hits $50,000. That's an outside edge case. Well, what does that look like? That's like a 150x move for BCH. Yeah, a little bit more than that. But and then you got an improvement on the premium. If we go up to a 7x premium, we're looking at like a 400 or 500x return. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just, it's like I said, I think this is the last great bull run because it's like we have the trusts. We are also at a very good time in history where I think these OG coins like Litecoin, like Bitcoin Cash, like Stellar Lumens are going to get a lot of attention and respect. And as a result of that, I think they're going to do very well in terms of price action. Now, will there be other cryptos that do far better? Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. But I like the Grayscale stuff because we have the premiums come into play. I like that. I don't want to have to get irritated when I do my taxes, trying to do crypto taxes. It's like it's easy in Grayscale. So, but we're at a really good point in time with I think those OG coins, getting respected, with a number of things that have happened. And Litecoin is the right coin. That's what they say. There's very popular saying, and it's one of the most widely used ones for transactions in crypto, which is pretty huge. And it's on every exchange. Every exchange supports Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash is at most of them, and it's got the Bitcoin name in it, and it's got a lot of respect too. And what I like about both Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash is that they have their doubters and they have their haters. There are a lot of people that think they're dead that haven't paid attention to them. Meanwhile, I think a lot of investors out there, they're very wary about investing in meme coins like Bonk, some of the stuff out there that could do really well, mind you. But like me, I'm not going to stick $1 million in Bonk. I would never do that. I would never stick $1 million in Bonk. But I would stick $1 million into Bitcoin, into Ethereum, into Litecoin, into Bitcoin Cash, into Stellar. I would, because it's like I know they're well respected. I know they're going to do well. How well they do, I just know they're going to do well. I don't need to get 1,000x returns out of a single crypto. It's like if I get a 10x, 20x, 40x return, I'm really happy. And if I can rotate then, do other cryptos or other trusts, well, then I can make my money in a safer way. A way that I feel is safer than investing in Bonk, for example. Yeah. John C says the biggest threat is ETF conversion. We've talked about this on Discord. I don't think I don't think there is that big of a threat. I think Gary Gensler and the SEC fucking hate the fact that they had to approve the Bitcoin ETFs. I think they despise the fact that they had to do it, and they're just like, hell no. I would be really surprised if they actually approved the Ethereum ETF before this bull run. I would be really surprised because I think they're just like, fuck you, crypto people. I don't think they're gonna, that they'll approve it. They'll probably just delay it. And I don't think there's they wouldn't. Nobody's actually even applied for like a Litecoin ETF or Bitcoin Cash ETF, so I don't think it's going to happen. Now, next cycle, next bull run, probably, right? Disco says I'll leave a couple hundred shares for the unicorn prices. Yeah, right. I think I will too. It's like I'll sell some off, but I'll leave some at the end because it'll feel good if you can sell some shares at the highs, So yeah, and that's what I would suggest that we all try to do. Save some. Yeah, Michael says he's going to DCA into LTC and BCH, and then towards the end DCA out. Yep. Eddie says you should do a meetup after the bull run. Yeah, that'd be fun. A lot of people have brought that up. Yeah. Paul says, what are the chances of LTCN converting to an ETF? I think it's super low. I'm not worried about it. Fathom says, when are you coming back to Florida? Next month, I'll be back there. Next month. Um, Matt McDonald says, Roth IRA for kids or UTMA. So I would do both. Like I have a UTMA, account for them. I don't have a Roth IRA because the Roth IRA is, I think it's like, I don't know what you can contribute to it each year. I have no idea. I haven't looked at that. But it grows tax free, and it is tax free, like coming out of the Roth. A UTMA is just like a taxable brokerage account, like and I have, right? So you got to pay taxes on behalf of your kid. So it's just like a big boy or big girl brokerage account that you're setting up for your kid. You're investing in assets, you're paying taxes along the way, and then eventually when they're 18 to 21, depends on your state, I believe, like that's when they would get authority to basically get that UTMA account moved over to their brokerage account on their own. So the Roth, like if you can do it, definitely do it. And also, like if any of you are like have a Roth or are able to set up a Roth, it would be smart, I think, to do that because, like I said, the money grows tax free and it's tax free coming out. It's different. Like I've got a SEP IRA where the money grows tax free, but I'm taxed on the way out. Then, which I'm still, it's better than nothing. Like it's not as good as a Roth, but it's like it's far better than a taxable situation. So. Paul Costa says Caesar says BCHG will be between 250 and 1500. What do you think it will do? Yeah, I think those are probably reasonable. What do I have here on my BCHG? If we have a 7x premium on the BCHG fund, which is what we had last cycle, and we have a $5,000 price for Bitcoin Cash, well, it brings us up to a $302 fund price. So he's saying 250 to 1500. So his estimates are probably for closer to like maybe on the low end, like a $4,000 Bitcoin Cash. On the high end, he's probably talking like a $23,000 Bitcoin Cash. And that's where, potentially we could see that if it does spike there. But I know repeatedly he said in the videos that I watched, like he's thinking like 10 to 12,000 as one point, but he also thinks 20 to 23,000 as being another. So like in my spreadsheet, which is more conservative, I just say, well, let's say it gets up to $5,000, like half of the bottom end of what Caesar is thinking, and we have a 7x return. That's still, to me, it's like that's still a 92x return from right now where we're at in BCHG, which just like to me is crazy. But I mean that's an awesome return. That's from right now. Like if you got in, you have a lower cost basis, you have a better return. But that's from right now. If we see those prices and you cash out at those prices, obviously. And like I said with LTCN, I'm going to be most interested in seeing what the average is during the course of the bull run, because that is really what's going to matter to me. All right, I'll answer a couple more questions and I'm going to end it here. We're getting close to an hour here. So John C says LTCN is obviously a better return. I don't know about that. Like a lot of people assume that, but even Caesar, like in one of his videos, he said, I've been thinking that LTCN was the better play, but now BCHG might be the better play. So we don't know, and that's why a lot of us, we have split bags. Like I'm basically 50-50 LTCN, BCHG, a little bit heavier on LTCN, but the potential returns, like even it's like, I mean, they're pretty damn close. They're really close, and all it takes is one little thing, like investor sentiment to swing towards BCH or LTC, one way or another, and it would dramatically alter the equation. Yeah. Yep. MRNC said last bull run BCHG only hit $55, so I'd look at selling it 110 to be safe. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing that, right? There's nothing wrong with doing that. Everybody just got to cash out whenever you're comfortable, whenever you're happy with. And it's one thing. It's like once you sell enough to pull out your initial principal and taxes to cover your initial principal, it feels better, because then it's like you're kind of feeling you're playing with house money. It feels better at that point. Yeah, MRNC said, based on history, LTCN had the best return. Yep, that is true. John says he's not selling LTCN for anything less than 1,000. Right on. Hey, Noel says, I want to thank you so much. This will change my family's life and my grandkids. Well, hopefully you're welcome. Like I hope my biggest nightmare actually is to have this be a huge letdown for all of us. That's my biggest nightmare, because I'm like, this shit cannot go wrong. I mean, there's something, it's like something to be said for like still getting a great return, even if we don't hit the numbers we've been talking about. But this thing better not flop. Like, the government better not shut crypto down, not like make the Grayscale trust illegal, not do something that just rains on our parade, because it would be a huge letdown. I've got family and friends that are into these funds, and it's like, I don't want them to be let down. It's like, I can handle a letdown, but it's like I don't want to let other people down. So hopefully this will help a lot of people. So this will be good. Yeah. Okay. Michael Johnson said he maxed out his Roth for 2023 and 2024 already with LTC and a BCHG. Yeah. Cool. Project X Woodworking. If you could buy only one, which would it be? Why the fuck do you need to buy one? Can't you buy one share of each? Like, seriously. Like, if I had to buy one and I can only buy one share of one thing, it would be LTCN, simply based on past performance. And that's it. That's it. All right, I'm gonna end. To be crypto, right? I'll answer this, then I'll be done here. Okay. Let's see. To be crypt says, old school is best school. Established coins rule. BCH has 21 million coins. Does it apply to BCHG as well? BCHG only, they have a certain number of shares. I don't remember how many shares. And each share only contains a fraction of a Bitcoin Cash. So BCHG, how many BCHG? BCHG, they've got just under 32 million shares, and I think it's like 1/10 of or 1/100th. I think it's like 1/100th. It's slightly more than that, or less than that. It's around there, 1/100th of a Bitcoin Cash. So so they probably have, what is that, three, if we do that math, they have like 300,000 BCH. Is that it? I don't know. I don't want to do the math. Something like that. They don't have all the Bitcoin Cash, but they've gotten a certain set amount, and then they just divvy it up. They slice and dice it and sell it off. LTCN up $1.12 right now before the close. I already did my purchases today. I'll do more tomorrow, but I was done for today. So yeah, cryptocurrency theory. Hey, good to see you here, brother. I was just like, so cryptocurrency theory. He's just showing up in the chat. He's got his own channel. I've been subscribed actually for a number of years. So he talks, I think one of the first things that drew me to his Chadwick's channel was he was talking about Bitcoin Cash. And he talks about, he's like one of the few people that talks about some of the old school, the proof of work coins, like Zcash and like Ethereum Classic. So definitely check out his channel. He does live streams every once in a while, and he puts out non-live stream videos as well. Definitely check out his channel, Cryptocurrency Theory. All right, I will catch you guys later. You guys have a good one. And if you have a suggestion for what you would like me to do a video on, please leave a comment either in this video or any video so I see it as a comment, or if you're in Discord, there's a video suggestions channel for you guys to chime in there. I feel like sometimes like I'm running out of like things to talk about. I usually manage to talk about stuff, but some days I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about, because I feel like I've talked about most things out there. So yeah. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Take care.